Some call it Shangri-La, maybe even Shambhala. This is a love video to Bhutan, a country that is landlocked to the north by the Himalayan mountains, China to one side, India on the other, and not easy to get to from either. It is completely mountainous with few valleys or plains. Bhutan's the last surviving Buddhist kingdom, and for over 1,200 years trying to reach nirvana by practicing the values of the Eightfold Path, including wisdom, virtue, meditation, and doing things the right way. There is only one major airport in Bhutan, at Paro, in the western part of the country. Because of the mountains, there are special maneuvers that pilots must practice in order to land or take off safely. The airport itself is unlike any other that we have ever seen, especially in terms of decor. Our routine was transport by small bus or van, traveling on the 2-lane highways carved into the mountainsides to visit cities, stay at really nice hotels, all meals included. Each day would include a significant cultural or spiritual site, interspersed with several hikes, including the final day to the world-famous Tiger's Nest. On the way from the airport in Paro to the national capital in Thimphu is this rest stop to see this beautiful bridge across the river. The hotel in Thimphu allowed us to get used to being at a high altitude. It was a short ride to Thimphu's colossal 169-foot tall Great Buddha Nornenma, sitting on a hillside above the city. It is one of the largest in the world. We had supper that night in an old upscale Bhutanese farmhouse, which now welcomes and feeds tourist groups in the old way. We were also treated to hear from world-famous Buddhist monk and scholar Dr. Karma Phuncho.
Gross national happiness is basically about developing the individual, the society, the country as a whole, with a very good balance of modernity and tradition, a good balance of the internal spiritual well-being and external material development, a very good balance between our material comfort and development with the environmental conservation.
There were several cultural visits in Thimphu. One was an art gallery co-op and school formed to help young people find themselves in art. Another was a small library in a residential area intended to help young girls learn to read and more about themselves and their world. At an outdoor lunch, we were treated to a visit by a Buddhist monk who gave each of us an individual astrology reading based on the meaning of our name and birth year in the Bhutanese tradition. Groceries in Bhutan are still available in the ancient tradition of outdoor markets. After a couple of days in Thimphu, getting used to the high altitude, we traveled east to Gangte. But first, we had to pass through the Dochula Pass at 10,100 feet, where the Druk Wangyal Temple is, as well as 108 memorial chortens, or Lamaist shrines. On some days, you can see the outer snow-capped ranges of the Himalayas, but on this day, there were too many clouds. We traveled on in this picturesque land, but we finally had to stop at a local restaurant on the hillside to enjoy local delicacies as well as a great view. A little while later, we stopped at the Gangte Mountainside Fortified Monastery in Wangdu Phodran District, above the Phobjikha Valley. We were able to go inside the 400-year-old monastery and briefly meet some of the novice monks. Below the monastery is the Gangte Nature Trail, pretty much walking our way to the Dawachin Hotel a couple of miles away. It was gorgeous, even though it started raining toward the end and we got soaked. The Dawachin Hotel is well known for its upscale but rustic accommodations in the valley where the black-necked crane spends the winter, whom many tourists come to see. We continued east to Bumthang. It had been a rainy day, so we had a catered lunch near Totongla at a rest stop in the clouds. After lunch, we started the 6-mile hike from Yotongla to Gates of Below. It's a moderate hike when dry, but today it was wet, with a whole lot of mud on the dirt trail as we tried to avoid cow and horse dung and leeches. It was beautiful though, involving meadows, virgin forests, and of course the river. Several of us did not make the whole hike and got pulled out about halfway, but most of the crew did make it to the end of this trail. The van then took the rest of us to the hotel in New Garling for rest and recuperation and a great evening meal. We traveled the next day up to the Pema Choling Nunnery, which is a school for about 100 girls and young women. Our guide, Singay Dradul, talks about the meaning of the ornate decorations.
And tiger is also seen in our architecture because Guru Padmasambhava took a wrathful form and flew to the tiger's nest, present-day tiger's nest cliff on a tigress. So that's why a tiger would also stay. You will see a lot of paintings and wood carvings. Our architecture is pretty much based on Buddhism, pretty much.
We learned that the school teaches the young women their native Dzongkha language and English and gives them a foundation for college or entry-level jobs, helping other people and living the Buddhist lifestyle. Once inside the school, we briefly met several students and got a chance to see inside a meditation center and classroom. The nunnery is being expanded to help more young women and is the start of another part of the Trans-Bhutan Trail. This 1.5 mile segment goes from the monastery to the burning lake below, the Mebarcho, a holy place where Buddhist treasures are said to be found in a cave far below. One of the treasures was a lamp, still burning when Pema Lingpa emerged after a long time underwater at this place. Jakar Bumthang is famous for 3 ancient Buddhist temples, and we visited all 3. This first one is the Tamzang Monastery School for young boys.
I thought it was a brother.
Lunch was at a farmhouse, but the road was so slippery and steep, we had to walk along farm fields to the very nice house. Afterwards, we went to the backyard to try archery with handmade bows, which is the Bhutan national sport. This is a working farm on a hillside above Bumthang. We walked down from the farming area to a meeting area where a large event was going on, as well as another temple. We saw the Jambe Lakhang Temple, the second of the three temples. The third of the three temples is the Kurje Lakhang Temple and is one of Bhutan's most sacred sites, as the remains of the country's first three kings are buried here. It is also the site of miracles and history. A busy day ended when we stopped at the Bumthang Brewery, home of the Red Panda Weiss beer, and the next-door cheese-making factory. A sampling came last before heading back to the hotel. The next day, we headed out for the long mountain drive to Punakha. We got to see some yak along the roadside, along with another visit to the restaurant and Dochula Pass. It was late afternoon when we got to the Punakha Fortress on an island between two rivers. To get into the fortress, one must cross the wooden cantilevered bridge called the Punakha Bazam. It is still used for processions and coronation celebrations. The fortress on the island holds many sacred relics, as it's part of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. We were sure glad to get to the RKPO Green Resort, our nice hillside Punakha hotel, which included dinner. The view of the valley from the hotel room was striking. The next morning, we went up into the mountains to the Nalanda Buddhist Institute, about a half a mile, on a narrow mountainside path in the fog to see the monks gathering for classes. Nalanda means insatiable giving. We headed down the mountain back toward the fortress. It took us through some gorgeous sightseeing, and we passed by a number of farms and terraced fields. The trail was mostly dry today, so hiking was much easier. We ended up across from the fortress for a very nice outdoor lunch, with the fortress in sight. After lunch, we went into downtown Punakha to do a bit of shopping in the everyday stores. That evening, we had dinner at a local restaurant where we learned about the Temple of the Divine Madman, who introduced phallic symbols as a part of his treatment to increase fertility in couples who were having trouble having babies. The 10th day of our trip to Bhutan took us back to Paro for more cultural experiences. On the way through, we stopped at the Gagyal Lundrup Weaving Center in Thimphu to view several weavers preparing traditional cloth with an opportunity to purchase the same. This was followed by a wonderful cooking demonstration at a farmhouse who involved several of us in preparing a traditional item such as emadatsi or chili cheese sauce. We did get to eat the food that we prepared. There was the National Museum of Bhutan in Paro. We stayed at the beautiful Naxal Boutique Hotel in Paro, where we had a gorgeous, large second-floor room overlooking the area.
Thank you. Even gets in the video here. White cap
After some rest, we enjoyed a performance of Bhutanese cultural dances and music and a farewell dinner. Let's enjoy a bit of the music and the dances.
Oh, their goodness. We learned much about Buddhism,
Despite very little photography inside the religious sites, the young king and his family are pictured throughout the country. Mostly, the royals are well thought of, as the king has tried to help people cope with the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Bhutan is also struggling with the loss of 150,000 young people who have moved to Australia and Canada because there aren't enough jobs at home. Still, there is a lot that is unique and romantic about Bhutan. The Gross National Happiness Plan is somewhat utopian, but something you might expect in Shangri-La. But Bhutan is not perfect. It is a living, breathing nation made up of ordinary people. Many countries around the world are struggling with keeping traditional values and practices, yet making them useful and relevant in a rapidly changing technological society. Bhutan has much to offer, helping people see that the practices of wisdom, patience, kindness, and gratitude are not negotiable if people are to get along. Spirituality, respect for historical spiritual teachers, and care for the environment are the most important parts of Bhutan's government and society. This classic mix, along with the beautiful alpine countryside and the unique dress and customs of people adapted to this country, fits many people's definition of an evolving model that other countries could learn from. Find a meditation center, and there are many, and you will find the road to Shangri-La, Shambhala, and Nirvana. Our last memory of Bhutan and the Himalayas was seeing Mount Everest in the air on a clear day before a stop at Kathmandu, Nepal, on the way back to catch a plane home in Delhi, India. So many highlights, so little time.